and welcome to the first episode of Suburban Parents Talk in the new year. I hope everybody's new year has started out well. Hi, Angie. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, ladies.
How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's been an interesting start to 2022, that's for sure.
Tell me about it. Well, this is a new year. Come on, new year.
That's it. So, we have a few new segments that we're going to be introducing to Suburban Parents Talk, which I'm really excited about. So why don't we kick one off right now? This is our mom rant. We're going to take turns every episode venting about things that are affecting us as parents. These things happen several times a day for some of us, maybe. I feel like since we came up with the rant idea, I've been like typing into my phone, like my son does something and I'm like, that's a rant. I'm going to talk about that on Suburban Parents. So today I thought I would talk about a little challenge I've had recently. Now I'm not having as many play dates, but I wrote an article recently about what do you do when you don't like your child's friend. So your kid makes friends with somebody either when they're really little in daycare, it's like their first buddy, but that kid is a biter or that kid is kind of sassy. I'm sure as a teenager, Sarah, it must be hard navigating friends too. Oh, no?
No, that was me agreeing with you. You have no idea. Sometimes
Oh,
it's
okay.
like, what do you do? That, like, I want to know the answer, Jen. What do you do?
I don't know. Now, I've had a few instances with kids, and you don't really want to parent other children's kids, but there are just certain common courtesies. Like, let me ask you something, ladies. Will you correct kids on manners? So if they say, "Can I have a glass of water?" Will you say, "What do you say?" Or do you just do it if they're not your child?
If they're not my child, I would just do it.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Ange, what do you do
Yeah.
about that? Yeah?
I mean, yeah. If they're asking nicely and they forgot the please, it's okay. Like it's
So I encountered this a lot. I used to volunteer every morning at my son's breakfast club. And this became a reoccurring thing, right? Where these kids would come up and kind of treat me like a server, which I was serving them breakfast, don't get me wrong, but would you like one piece or two? Two. Would you like jam or honey? Honey. I mean, by the third one, I'd have to go, oh, but it'd be really nice if you said, please, Miss Jen. I love hearing that word. Like, I'd make it kind of like a joke, but I just couldn't. I couldn't let it go, like by the second or third or fourth time. But I'll admit, I did it once, and I didn't know the parent was standing right there. And I was kind of like, oops, it's like difficult. So anyway, I'm finding this. I'm lucky my son has a lot of really nice kids. I'm wondering if any of their moms are watching it going like, did she come up with this idea? Because
you're going to get so many messages.
I know. But no, and I'm really lucky. I think my son has like amazing friends, but there have been those instances where I'm like, I kind of bite my tongue, or even with like my nephew where he's family. So I feel a little more comfortable kind of correcting because I would want them to correct Cameron. Yeah, I find that a tricky one to navigate when you don't like one of your kids' friends. It's a weird one.
With the teenagers, often it's not quite, because it's not quite so directed at you. Like, it's not like they're asking you for something and you need to, so it's things that you overhear, like conversations that you, like you're in the other room, but they're chatting amongst themselves, and you'll hear one of them say something and you'll be like, like there's a lot of swear words that happen a lot. There's, inappropriate comments. And yes, there's moments where it's like you kind of want to say, hey, I can hear you, right? Like,
let me ask you, do you talk to your son later about it, like if you heard something, or do you not bring it up because you also don't want him to think you're sort of eavesdropping?
Well, so that I wouldn't have it, like the fact that he knows that I'm eavesdropping, that I wouldn't have a problem with, because I'm not eavesdropping. It's not like I'm listening outside of his door. I mean, I'm going about my business in my own home or wherever I am, and if I overhear, then that's on you. You're talking too loud, or you're right next to me, or so I wouldn't have a problem with him knowing that I'm eavesdropping. And I think when it comes to, so I often try to weigh the balance between keeping an open, honest, transparent relationship with the teenagers, which is hard. I mean, you don't want them to start shutting you out or not telling you stuff because you get upset or angry, or so I try to balance, like, where do I want to pick my fight? Where do I want to where do I want to put my energy? And so some of it, like his friends swearing, I don't care. I mean, they're not my kids, and as long as my children are, I mean, of course, I'm positive they're probably swearing outside of the house, away from me. But as long as it's not in the house and in front of me, then kids will be kids. Like, I swear.
I find that tricky now, though. I don't know if it's a third grade thing, like when they're right around like 8 or 9, but it's funny because it's very, like kids will follow very quickly. So he'll tell me stories about friends at school that are dropping like F-bombs in the schoolyard, and they're the most innocent ones. Like they're the kid that comes over and is like quiet and super polite, and you're like, wow. And I think it's like a tricky age. Like they're trying to test certain limits all over again. It's like when they, they're probably like around Brandon's age and they're testing limits, they do that again. There's like a whole nother cycle of it.
But it's also, you can tell which kids have older siblings.
100%. 100%, yes. Because they'll tell you, even Cameron will have certain questions, and I'm like, where did you hear that? The other day he used the word hipster. Like he was googling around his dog and he put like glasses on him and he goes, oh yeah, look at Toby the hipster. And I'm like, what's a hipster? And he goes, like a cool person that lives in the city. And I was like, how do you know that? Yeah, it's so funny. So funny.
Wait till he starts calling you a boomer.
Oh, I get bruh. Oh, mommy, I finished my homework, bruh. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Or girl. Oh, thanks, girl. I'm like, no. Where are you?
I saw a thing on social media somewhere about how at their, like, it was a joke about how at my house we don't have a swear jar. We have a jar for every time my kid calls me brah or girl
B-R-U-A.
yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't.
My son is so not there. I mean, sometimes he calls me mom, and that's like
jarring. Angie's navigating having a little one around her feet. That's why she kind of disappeared quickly before, because she's playing mom and Suburban Parents Talk host today.
I'm changing the channel. I'm confiscating scissors.
Multitasking. And you know what? I mean, I don't know about you ladies, but maybe this will be my rant for next week. How come men can't, or my husband can't multitask? How come, like, it's... I mean, if he's making supper, which is amazing, he like tunes everything else out. It's like, but you have to make supper and take care of the kids and like. But I don't want to generalize. That's wrong. So.
No. Next week we'll have a rant. Maybe we should start we need to get some dads on here too. We got to get some men into the mix. Our Suburban Parents Talk. We don't discriminate. It'd be great to have some guys on here. We're gonna have to book some for the new year. If you're an amazing dad who's doing something, let us know. Tell us why you should be on the show. We would love to promote you. We have a new food blogger, actually. His name is Daniel, and he runs the Instagram page, Canadians Cooking. Andrew introduced us to him, and he's going to be doing not just recipes, but video recipes, where he shows like really nice. He's doing a whole series right now of really cool Super Bowl foods. And they're easy, but they're really cool recipes. Like you think that, oh, I couldn't make that, but he really breaks it down. We got to thank Angie for him because he's amazing. We had him on, and we got to have him on again because he was great.
I love watching his videos. Like he's on TikTok, on Instagram, and like
yeah, he's everywhere.
Yeah, no, and he does such a good job. Like they're fun, they're super relatable. I mean, he lives in the area,
Yep,
so like
absolutely.
when he's posting like freezing outside, like. Yeah, it's like yesterday.
It is. Yep. All right, we have our first guest on. I'm going to let her in here because she's in our little virtual waiting room. Hello, Sandra. So nice to see you.
So nice to see you guys too. How are you all?
Good. How are you?
Very good.
We're
Good.
great.
Happy
Thank
New
you
Year.
so much for coming on. Yeah, thank you for coming on. So it's Sandra Riesch. Is that how you say your last name?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. And you have quite the credential list here, so I wrote everything down. I don't want to leave anything out. Sandra is an amazing founder and clinical director for the Montreal Center for Anxiety and Depression. You host workshops, you host couple retreats, you're on the radio, you're doing TV interviews, and you've written a book. So you've kind of done it all. I guess my first question would be, we're all married on the panel here, and we've been married for a while. Is there a common couples problem that seems to pop up a lot after people have been together a while? Is it intimacy? Is it romance, the connection, all of the above? What do you think is kind of the most common problem?
Well, I think there's going to be a theme here. That's a great question, and I think there'll be a theme because most of my work these days are with couples, and I think that couples, we get busy, we have kids, we have lots going on, and I think what gets people into trouble is that the connection is something that has to be worked on a regular basis, and I think that we fall trapped into parallel lives, like you're picking up the kids, I'm making dinner, and we're with the kids, and we're doing this, and we're doing that, and if there's no time for the couple. It's a bit like having a garden and not putting fertilizer. There's going to be trouble sooner or later. And some people go quite a long time without realizing there's a problem. And all of a sudden they're like, I'm not in love, or, God forbid the affair shows up. And some people are more the type where one is saying, we need more connection, and the other one's going, we're fine, we're fine. But that seems to be the theme that gets people into trouble. And that leads into all the words you use, intimacy, all of that stuff. You can't have those things without connection.
Okay.
I'm one of those people that since the beginning of the pandemic, neither of us have gone back to work. Well, we work from home now, so it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week together. There's no, like you just said, like, oh, you're leading your own lives. No, we're leading the same life. And I guess I with activities kind of at a standstill, there's no restaurants, there's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do. Is that taking a toll on relationships, or are you seeing more like a trend towards people having a hard time with the close quarters all the time?
Yeah, it could go. That's also a very good question. It can go either way. It can be like we're spending too much time together, or it's how you're spending the time together. If you're just on top of each other in the house, you just start to get on each other's nerves. But like, are you taking time to like set up, like in the height of the pandemic, we were all home. My kids, I took them out of school. They were here. My husband was at home and I was at home. So the potential for that was extremely high for those kinds of problems. But we would set up, and I really encourage couples to do this, we still would do a date night. It was, a little bit sad, but we would have to set up a table downstairs with candles and put some music on, turn, any blaring computer light off, but create that kind of situation where the kids are not allowed to come downstairs. And it would, you kind of feel like you're at a restaurant. Now, for a while, there was more options. So there's, on the one hand, creating special moments, and on the other hand, also having still some individual time. Because remember, in a couple, there's always a you, me, and an us. There's not just an us. You, me, and us.
I like that.
So I guess the solution in the end is really just putting in, you hear it so often, putting in the work, putting in that homework. So you have to carve out those times that you're going to spend together, quality time as a couple, right?
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun work. I mean, that part's fun work. Some parts of couple work is not always fun, but that part's fun. And it's amazing to me because my personality type is that if I don't feel a connection with my husband after a few days, I'm the type of person who would be like, hey, I'm not liking this. But it's always interesting to me where a lot of couples can go for a very long time without any connection at all. And that's usually when that's attachment styles. It falls into, what we call attachment styles, when we have two, what we call avoidant types, where no one's really sort of noticing if there's a problem. But to come back to the work aspect, it's, when I think about the idea of how can we be creative and have, we've always gone for our famous coffees. That's one of our rituals. We used to go to Starbucks like before the pandemic, and then there was no more Starbucks. So, and we have, fairly young kids, so I don't want to be talking on the main floor and they're overhearing me. So we had to set up something in the garage. Yeah,
wow,
that's amazing.
Yeah, and that became our cafe and still is our cafe.
Really?
In the summer months, the door is open. In the winter months, not so much. But so it's a creative, and I tell this to my clients, and my clients have come up with their own versions of this, like fireside chat and charcuterie night and comedy night. So I think it's a work that can be quite fun, is how do we integrate adult connected time? Because when I'm sitting at the table with my kids and my husband, I love that. But it's not the same as having adult-to-adult connection. And I think that couples forget how incredibly important that is.
It's funny. I hope this isn't too much information, but my husband and I you said that you set up a cafe in your garage. We shower together every single day. We designed the shower down here to be like a 2-person shower with benches, and I mean,
Wow.
and it's not like it's not a sexual thing. That's our chat time. We every single morning we shower together, and after we finished washing, we actually just sit down on the bench and we chat about the day. How's the day? Like, what are you doing today?
That is amazing.
It's so
That's
funny
amazing.
though.
I'm jealous. That's amazing.
It's
I
a
love
great.
it.
It's a
We
great
just go for
morning.
drives in the car and get a coffee and drive around. I gotta get Mike on that one. Building a 2-man shower. Wow.
I can't believe you sit there chatting though.
We sit there chatting.
That's an incredible connection. That's a perfect example, and that sets your day. And there's something special then between you and your husband, and it's your time. So Sarah, that's the magic. That's magic.
I love that. So you host couples retreats, and I think you have one coming up. Is that right, Sandra? Can you tell us a little bit about those retreats?
Yeah, it's very sad. We didn't have it for almost 2 years now because of this situation. So the history of our couple retreats is they started in tropical places, and as my kids got older, I had to start coming closer and closer to home, and now it's just here in the West Island. So unfortunately, no Mexico, but that's the location. But what I do is that there's actually, in a way, theoretically, 3 couple retreats because they're based on the teachings of the 3 biggest, because that's the other thing about couples is there is a science. We know there's a science now to couples. We didn't know this when we all got married. There is a science to having a happy relationship. So I studied with those 3 experts in the world, and each one of the retreat is based on one of their works. And so what happens is we get together, since it's here in Montreal, we get together during the day. It's at a hotel here in the West Island. It's quite intensive. And what happens is in about 3.5 days, it's almost like as if you went to 2 years of therapy. So people really like it. And it's quite amazing what happens because it's very experiential, no sharing in front of other people because a lot of the men do not want to come to a couple retreat telling their stories to other people. But you have an opportunity to be practicing the exercises I bring clinicians with me to learn the skills that will help you to have an incredible, closer connection and understand a little bit some of your own personal blockages. And it just allows me to teach things that I just can't do in 50 minutes in a session. So we have one coming up in June. The dates are not fully settled, but if people are interested, they can certainly call me.
Amazing. And we will we'll put all that information too. We always do a post on the Suburban and Endless website, so we'll put that information there too if people want more information.
Great.
Well, thank you so much, Sandra, for coming on. We really appreciate you and your time and some great tips. And like I said, all of Sandra's contact info will be up on the website following the broadcast. So thank you so much, Sandra.
Thank you guys so much for having me on and for good questions. And for Sarah, that incredible strategy. Oh God, I'm not going to forget that one.
Love it.
Thank you so much, Sandra.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now you're going to see all the shower sales go up in the Kohler and stuff will be scratching their head going like, what happened? So is your hubby
amazing.
My hubby hates that I go. I mean, he knows that I do it, but he hates that I divulge stuff about our relationship publicly.
No, he doesn't mind. He really doesn't mind.
That's great.
Yeah.
And it helps people. Like, you guys are a really amazing couple. You've always carved out that time, like date nights and stuff like that. Andrew, are you and your hubby like good with the date nights? It's hard when you have a little one.
She said you're living parallel worlds. It's like we live in the same house. We have the same bedroom. But like, honestly, like we're doing completely different things. And, you know, it's super hard to connect. Like at the end of the day, it's not the ideal time because you're tired. You're not really looking at, you know, connecting. You just want to like relax and close your mind. So it's great, Sarah, that you do it in the morning, that you have that connectedness. Like it doesn't have to be a bathroom reno for the rest of us, right? Although I really want pictures of the reno, not of you.
It's like this broadcast is just I
meant of like because
oh gosh, readers, do not write in. We are not offering pictures of this. Just the shower.
Oh my gosh.
Let's move along.
I
right
meant
along.
the bathroom of how it's
Yeah.
Brandon. Your mouth.
Speaking oh, hi, Brandon. Everybody say hi.
I'll mute.
He's so cute. He has such beautiful eyes. Look at those
You go,
eyes.
Tootie.
Oh, he's so handsome. What a cutie
Okay.
pie. So speaking of romance, Sarah wanted to discuss some romantic things that we can do on Valentine's Day with our spouse. This is a particularly tricky year because we don't really know what'll be open, what'll be going, what we'll be allowed to do. So fill us in, Miss Cupid. What do you have in store for us for some romance?
Well, a little like Sandra was saying that she suggests to couples. Yes, and like you mentioned, Jen, my husband and I, we have, well, I won't say every single week. I mean, before the pandemic, we would have a date night every single week. Now, after the pandemic, I mean, but we still carve out time, like she said, down in the basement, and the kids know not to come down. And we've done all kinds of romantic dinners. So here are a few ideas of interesting things to do for Valentine's Day that don't require going out, don't require restaurants to be open. One of our favorite go-tos is having a fondue night in the basement. So we set up and I mean, we make it very picnic style because, the kids stay upstairs. We set up blankets on the floor. We have the candles, we have the wine, we have the fondue. We also do a do-it-yourself tartare, like salmon tartare. We cut up because he likes it one way, I like it a different way. So we cut up all the different, we cut up mango and avocado and sriracha and whatever. And so that's another at-home date night that we enjoy. But then if you don't want to necessarily cook too much, another thing that we've done, which was a lot of fun, and delicious, was we ordered a seafood and oyster platter from, there's different places, but the one that we ordered from was called Oysters in Motion, and they delivered it same day. It was all packed in ice, so we just placed the order online on their website, and we got this beautiful arrangement of oysters and this beautiful platter of seafood, super beautifully arranged. Like, we didn't have to do anything. It was great. So that's another interesting idea. And the last idea I had, somebody mentioned this to me. I haven't tried it yet, but I think I might try. Maybe this year I'll try it. Somebody suggested that you make dinner together as a couple, but one person has to be blindfolded and the other person is the one moving their hands. So you're kind of cooking. So it kind of adds this this cuddling type style to cooking. I thought that I mean, you'd have to be careful what you cook because, please don't hurt yourselves or burn yourselves or
For sure.
splash anything. But I thought that was a cute idea.
I love that.
Yeah, it's adorable. I might try
That
it
is
this year.
fun, yeah. I actually did that Au Noir restaurant where you eat.
Oh, yeah.
And I told Mike we should do that one night. It would be so fun to I don't know, somebody would have to bring us the food so we don't know what it is. Or we order each other's dish or whatever.
Yeah.
But I love those ideas. Yeah, those are really easy things that you could do at home and you don't have to go out. I love
Exactly.
that. I love that. Oh, poor Angie. Angie's like a jungle gym over there. So our next guest is in our virtual reading room. So I am going to let her in. We have Kelly. Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us.
My
name's
pleasure.
Jen. We've got Sarah and Angie's got little Brandon hanging on her today for the
Brandon.
So Kelly is a Canadian accountant who specializes in divorce, and she just wrote a new book called Untying the Knot, which it came out on February 1st because we're broadcasting February 8th. So Angie, I think you wanted to ask the first question, if you're good to go and your little monkey is not too distracting.
He's cute, but yes, distracting a little bit. Kelly, thank you for joining us. I was wondering what inspired you to write this book?
Well, divorce is my life, and starting with my own life with my parents' divorce and then my divorce. But I think after working, now I work full-time exclusively with women, helping them navigate the financial implications. And I see a lot of suffering. And so I really wanted to, at a minimum, give comfort. And I think comfort of knowing you're not alone. Many other people have have kind of had the same experiences, and also to provide practical help, because I think not all divorce suffering can be avoided, but some of it can, if you're well prepared and you're well supported. So that's my goal. I want to reduce the suffering that, in particular, women, but everybody are experiencing when they get divorced.
Now, are there common misconceptions that people have maybe going into a divorce that you kind of are, clarifying in the book from a financial perspective?
I would say I think there are misconceptions. I think one of the misconceptions, and it might not be strictly financial related, is that if you hire a lawyer, your divorce will be adversarial. And so I mean, divorce is just like marriage. In part, it's a legal arrangement, and divorce is a legal process. And so I really want, in particular, women to be educated about their particular situation. And so I think that's one misconception, that if I hire a lawyer, I'm getting into an adversarial situation, which I don't want. And so I'd like to dispel that myth. I think the other thing that I get on my soapbox about financially is, I think if you haven't been divorced, you might imagine it as a line that you step over. I'm married and now I'm divorced. And in fact, sadly, it can be a very long process, divorcing, it can be a life stage. And so I really encourage people to make sure that they're financially and literally, physically safe and secure for that period, which can be uncomfortably long time.
And is it very expensive, like a divorce process? It probably gets quite pricey.
I mean, I think there are layers of cost. You probably are going to pay professionals, because I'm guessing, like, most people don't want to become divorce experts. I don't recommend it, really. Just kidding. I love what I do. So you're paying professionals. You're also dividing the pie. Like, when you're married and you're driving your car, and maybe you're driving to your little cottage on the lake, you're not envisioning that everything that you're touching probably is half yours. It feels like it's yours. And so typically in a divorce, you're faced with the reality that it actually, all those assets weren't all yours. They were only half yours. And so that feels like a big, big cost, because you're kind of cutting your asset base in half. So professional fees, the fact that now you're slicing up the pie. And another thing that can happen when you get divorced is you're going through a traumatic experience. So your collective productivity, goes, I don't want to say down the toilet, it's negative, but it's reasonable for you to expect that your productivity is going to suffer. And that can have a cost, whether you're working outside the home or inside the home. You might need more help, which has a cost, or you might make less money because you're less productive. So there's layers of cost, and it can be expensive. I mean, I would say, don't expect to be making financial progress while you're getting divorced. This is the rainy day. And one of the challenges with divorce is that you might take a few steps back financially, and you'll focus on rebuilding after. And, and don't beat yourself up if you're taking some steps back during.
I love that. I think people probably need to hear those encouraging words and have a little bit of support and know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, because it must feel very, very constricting when you're going through that. Yeah.
And I think to get creative about how you're going to handle that, and that might include reaching out for help. I think, especially if you're going through divorce older, you're not accustomed to saying, Mom and Dad, I need some help. But, I think just to say, this is a time where, it takes a village.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's very comforting and it's great advice. Where can people get the book if they want to pick up the book? It's called Untying the Knot. Where can they get that?
I love the name, by the way. I think it's such a great name, Untying the Knot. So cute.
Hopefully it feels a little more comforting to people than severing, right? They can go to my website, which is lavalley.ca, and there's an Buy the Book page, but it's on Amazon and pretty much every online retailer you can find. It's there.
Perfect. Well, we run a blog post after the broadcast on the Suburban and M list, so we will include all the information to Kelly's book there. So if anybody watching wants to purchase it, they'll be able to find it on our website as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelly, for coming on. Thanks so much.
Pleasure.
Really
Thanks for
appreciate
having me.
All right, you take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
All righty. There we go. Poor you, Angie. The mom in me, I see you, and then your video camera goes off.
Oh, that was him. He turned off the computer. I hope I was still on mute.
You were. You were. Don't worry. Well, I want to get to your craft while you have a little snippet there of time there.
I know he's away from me.
Angie's very crafty, and Angie owns an amazing company called
Classic Canvas Designs.
Right? So tell us about your Valentine craft that you have for us. I love crafts.
Yeah, so it's something super simple to do with children, and you don't need any special equipment. I mean, you need a computer and a printer, I guess, but other than that, nothing special. If you own a Cricut, it makes it so much easier, but if you don't, not a problem. So you can go online and just Google coloring sheets or whatnot. Let's see, can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have it on cardstock. It doesn't have to be super thick, but I like it better than the regular paper. And you just print it out from your computer. And these are ideal if the child wants to give personalized gifts to their classmates. Okay, so you take it out. The child does not color it. And here, there's going to be room to put crayons. So if you don't have a Cricut, it will not punch out the holes. And also, I tried it with a hole punch, and it doesn't work. So we definitely need scissors. And put it this way. Hold on, I just want to make sure that I cut the scissors. I cut it the right way. No. Okay, so you take your sheet and you just bend it like this a little bit, and you do 2 little cuts on the sides in the middle here, because that's where we're going to put the crayons.
Okay.
And it does actually work a little bit better. I don't think my scissors are sharp enough, but that's okay. So afterwards, you can just add, I'm just adding, so I'm trying to get in my camera. I'm just going to add the crayon here. I'll just do it down here. And then they can give it to their little friends. And it's just something super cute, and it's very cheap. They could write
cute. And at least it's something usable, and it's not sugar, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I gave them, I mean, I've given this to the kids when he was at daycare. I've given them to all the kids. They like them, you know, you can personalize it. Yeah.
He likes that craft. That is Brandon approved.
Yeah, Brandon approved. Do you love it? Do you love it? Hey, bud, look at mommy.
Like I'm sweating.
Yeah, he wants to get my scissors. That's what he wants to get. So, but it's super easy.
I love that.
Yeah, something cute and fun.
Awesome. Well, I was going to share a couple class Valentine ideas too. So one of my favorite things, speaking of crayons, is I bought this at the dollar store, and it's just a silicone mold. And what we do is we take all the broken bits of our damaged crayons, and we break them into little pieces and stuff them in the hearts, and you just put it on a cookie sheet at 300 for about 10 minutes, and it melts to liquid. And if they're old enough and very careful, they can take a toothpick and even swirl the colors. And within 10 minutes, once it hardens, you pop them out and you have little heart-shaped mixed crayons. Warning, tell people they're crayons, or the child will pop it into their mouth and think it is colored chocolate. Just saying. I also love things like this. So these are little plastic dinosaurs that you can buy at the dollar store. And you put a funny little play on words, like have a dynamite Valentine's Day. Or I made these little straws that said you are extra special. I bought a whole bag of those little curly Q straws. Those are fun. You Make My Heart Pop or Blowing You Kisses, and they were individual bubbles. So I really love doing homemade stuff for the classes, especially when they're little. Now he's 9 years old and he's like, please don't, please don't, please don't. Here's our crayons. There's some of our crayons once they're all done. Uh-oh. And then these say, You Make My Heart Burst, and they have little starburst in them.
Oh, cute.
So, yeah, you know what? You go on Pinterest or the internet and you type plays on words, and you can make up a clever little saying to go with any little tchotchke from the dollar store. So that's what I did this year. I don't know what my son's going to let me do. I don't even know if we're allowed to send things in for Valentine's Day this year. I'm not sure what the rules are, but they change every day, so I guess I'll just wait and see.
All the time they're changing.
That's it. That's it. All right, so for our final segment of this Valentine's special, we wanted to bring to all the viewers things to do in and around town. We're always looking for things, especially parents. What can we do to get our kids out there? What can we, I don't know, go and explore? What's safe to see? So, Sarah, you had a really fun couple of ideas.
So last weekend we went with the kids, and I mean, for me, it's always difficult to find things that are interesting for the 5-year-old as well as the teenagers. Like it's always one or the other. So we were really, and of course with everything closed now, there are really no options. But last weekend we went to Imagine Monet. It's at the Arsenal Art Center in Montreal. And I mean, it's beautiful. It's playing music that's going along with all of the Monet artworks that they've found a way to make fantastic. I mean, look, it looks like she's standing in the Monet
That's
painting.
her daughter, Sarah's daughter. Yeah, it looks like she's standing in that painting.
Exactly. It was so fun. She thought it was
cool.
She thought it was amazing. The teenagers thought it was amazing. So I highly recommend it. I mean, it's it's in one big open space, and they limit the amount of people, so it's, you're very distant from everybody. Nobody was anywhere near us, so it was definitely something that I would recommend if you want to kind of get out of the house and see something different.
Very cool. I love that. And did you have another one? There was another place?
There's a place I want to go. I haven't been yet. I saw that in Montreal, in the Quartier des Festivals, they opened an outdoor restaurant. Apparently,
I saw that.
I know, and I want to go. I haven't been yet, but for me, the temperatures have been a little too cold for me to sit outside. So, but once it's like a little bit nicer, like maybe in the -2, -3 range, I want to go. I want to check it out, and I will keep you posted.
Isn't that sad where our standards have fallen at -2, -3 is like, oh, it's going to be balmy.
I'll go in my shorts,
Why not? Why not? That's great. No, I've heard that place, and they're really outfitted with tons of heaters and stuff.
Yeah,
like it's actual outdoor dining. Yeah. Uh-oh. Alrighty. Angie, did you have an activity that you wanted to talk about? You've been kind of stuck at home with your little one. Have you guys been out?
We haven't done much, to be honest, but he got a very cool toboggan GT snow racer. So we brought him to the nearby park and tobogganing there with his little friends. And he's just a riot when he goes down there. But it's been very cold, and he's very, oh, mommy, it's too cold. Like he's not into it.
He's like me.
Yeah, he's like everybody that he's related to. We're not outdoorsy people per se, and but I'd love for those places that we used to go to with him, to go climbing and whatnot. If those were to reopen during the week, maybe I'd be inclined to go and bring him there. But otherwise, we don't have any crazy Valentine's plans. Maybe I'll go for a drive by myself.
Happy Valentine's Day to you.
Sit in your driveway with a coffee and listen to music. You wouldn't be the only mom that's done that, I'm sure.
I'm sure. We can have a parade of cars just by ourselves.
We should all just meet in one big parking lot, and we'll all just FaceTime and have a girls thing.
I'll bring a quarantini.
Yay! Yeah.
Oh wait, we can't have alcohol.
You can drive.
Okay, never mind. Abort.
We're not encouraging.
Can't be arrested. He's gonna make
Don't have cocktails in your car, people. And don't ask for pictures of Sarah and her husband in the shower.
Oh my God,
Bad
that's not what I
episode.
meant. The minute it came out of my mouth, I'm like, oh, this is not that. That shouldn't have happened.
No, that's what makes me so good. I love it so much. I love it so much.
Yeah.
All right, my two little places to say we're out and about. We're very into outdoor skating right now. My son doesn't have hockey going on. Hopefully by the time this broadcast, sports have been reinstated. But the Old Port in right near the Marché Bon Secours has outdoor skating on a refrigerated rink, so it's perfect ice conditions all the time. They're open from like 9 a.m. till 10 p.m. It's like a full day thing. And what's really fun is that not only do you have a beautiful view of the city being right on the water, but they have DJs and theme nights. So like Friday night, yeah, they have like certain things going on, and there's lights strung up, and it's really, really pretty. They do skate rentals, there's hot chocolate, so it's a really, really fun family activity. The same to be said of Beaver Lake. I think a lot of people maybe forget, but Beaver Lake has the tobogganing runs. They have a beautiful skate surface that they maintain, and now they have that awesome restaurant right there. So you can get hot chocolate, you can go right in with your skates, you can get snacks, and really just make like a fun afternoon out of it. It's so pretty. People sometimes build, I haven't been this year, but last year, people had built snowmen like all over the park. So it was so fun to just even walk around, and the kids climb, and it was a great kind of family afternoon. So we're all about the outdoor skating right now. And I actually published an article in the Suburban this week on winter activities where I profile outdoor skating rinks and also the ones that are sort of trails that go through the forest. They have a lot of these skating trails, and sometimes they have a food truck set up. And yeah, it's amazing, like 1 to 3 kilometers long, and you can do different ways. And because you're in the forest, you're shielded from the wind. So even on a day when it's like minus 15 or minus 20, believe it or not, it doesn't feel that frigid because you're kind of enclosed, you know? So yeah, that's out in the Suburban this week. So happy Valentine's Day, ladies. I hope that you find a little snippet of romance with your other halves this Valentine's. And I hope that everybody stays healthy, and we will be back in 2 weeks for another Suburban Parents Talk Live. Oh, before we go, Angie, tell us about your nonprofit that you wanted to tell us about.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'm a huge animal lover, and like we were just discussing, it's been extremely cold outside. So there's a lot of abandoned cats or cats that aren't spaded, and they procreate, right? So you have like little colonies of cats that are freezing, that are sickly, and we have a wonderful nonprofit in Hudson called Casca Hudson, and Sharon, one of the co-founders, she has partnered with, and I'm going to get the link afterwards for the business, but there's a woman in Hudson, and I wish I had the name off the top of my head, but I forgot. But she does portraits of animals, so of your animals, and she's going to donate partial proceeds towards Casca Hudson. So Sharon is like infamous in our area. Whenever somebody's like, I found this cat, is it anybody's? Sharon gets tagged immediately. It's not Sharon's cat, but she's like known to be rescuing all of them. Like she has a full-time job, she has a family to take care of, and this woman is relentless in her quest. And you know, so that is a fundraiser that's currently going on, and I'll send you the link so we can post it up on this site. So if you'd like to have a portrait of your animal, you can have a beautiful portrait done, and the funds go towards a really great initiative.
Wouldn't that be a good Valentine's gift if somebody has a partner that really loves their pet? And I bet you there's a lot out there. That would be such a great gift. And you'd be supporting local and giving to a charity all at once.
Yep.
All right, we'll put all that information up on the Suburban website and Emlist following the broadcast, and any other information that we spoke about as well, including links to the books and all of the resources we brought up. So happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I hope that it is lovely. Bye, everyone.
Happy Valentine's Day.